All right, sounds good. Let's get it started. But first, the title. Let's make it Activision. Although I guess this title isn't particularly true. Uh, Activision and Microsoft, their deal has been denied by the US, who has blocked it on anti-competition grounds. So Activision is down something like 8% in pre-market, and Microsoft has not moved at all. So yeah. Wally, do I say that? Do I say good morning, everybody? Or everyone? Interesting. I guess I do. But all right. Activision was my little shout out, but I know what you guys want to talk about is probably just FRC. Uh, Microsoft is up pre-market because they had absolutely killer earnings. Like they absolutely crushed it. So I think anyone with calls is probably up bigly on Microsoft, and they just like were not impacted at all by the news of the Activision acquisition not going through. So pretty interesting. Welcome, Rad.
Hello, unpopular opinion. So I take it you were talking about the UK slapping down Activision.
That's right. And sorry, Chi Adam just actually brought this up. Is there like a little bit of a lag when I start the room and then you'll have to like click something else to get in?
I don't notice any lag, but I don't know, man.
All good, all good. All right, so yeah, that was the Activision thing I was talking about. But I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about FRC or are there other bigger stories? I mean, it is trading week, so
I mean, we can start Activision. It's pretty. I would assume Activision down is pretty set in stone, and probably Microsoft up for a little bit because market's going to price them as not having to spend $60+ billion, right?
yeah. Although them going up is on earnings, I believe.
I'm sure their earnings play more of a role into it. I'm just saying from a very binary standpoint. Usually, when there's a merger or acquisition, generally the announcement makes the company go down because they're spending money, and then they go up over the long term because they've acquired something good. So you tend to see the reverse if it gets blocked. The company will go up in the short term because everyone goes, oh, now they don't need to spend that money. But in the long term, it's not as great because they go, oh, they're not getting that asset. That's what I tend to see in the market when these things happen. Obviously, I look at it more from a commodity side, but it's what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, it looks like they did get a tiny pop on the day they announced, which was January 18th. I think they went up that they would acquire it. Oh no, it might have gone down slightly. I don't know. It's a long time ago. Hard to see. Actually, I guess I could check, but that is generally how it goes, which is weird because that just means that markets generally don't appreciate acquisitions.
They appreciate them over the long term, but they tend to not like the spending of money in the short term. I think it's because the markets get a little scared that there might be some type of dilution to raise towards the actual acquisition. And especially the smaller the company, obviously, the more the market is worried that they're going to say we need to raise cash in order to fully fund this purchase. Microsoft, you would expect less so.
Yep, fair. Oh, so is Bed Bath and Beyond like actually delisted now? Is it gone?
So I went there yesterday to try to get cheap pots and pans, and they closed at 7. They were just like, they just put a note on the door and they were like, we're closed, go away, stop trying to buy our stuff. So they normally close at 10. There was just a note on the door and they were like, we're closed, stop it.
uh, that's pretty funny. Actually, I met someone yesterday who worked at Bed Bath and Beyond in the Eaton Center, and so I'm gonna try and get them to come on and talk about their great experience.
Also,
working
for
at
anyone looking to go to a Bed Bath & Beyond, I did talk to someone as he was coming out since they were closed and I showed up. And he essentially said unless you're looking to throw down like $300 on stuff, there actually aren't that good of discounts considering that they're going under. So, good old Bed Bath & Beyond, stubborn to the end, I guess.
There we go. Looks like they are beginning to delist the stock, and the stock will be suspended on May 3rd. So that's 1 week from now. Thank you, Negative Road, for that. And yeah, liquidation sales are pretty efficient at this point. So can't really expect any big deals, unfortunately. But that's good news for Bed Bath & Beyond's creditors. And I don't know, but there was a trade a while ago that people were talking about buying up Bed Bath & Beyond's bonds. I think someone mentioned it on here earlier, actually, not today, but a few days ago. Where if they had just made
Someone
one
said
payment.
he had like 2K worth of bonds that he bought for like $50, and he was worried if he was going to get paid out or not.
Oh no, yeah, I don't think he's getting paid out. Although, I mean, I want to hear from the audience. Tell me in the chat, like, is buying bonds on Bed Bath and Beyond like more degenerate than, I don't know, shares of Bed Bath and Beyond? Because it's bonds on the one hand. On the other hand, Bed Bath and Beyond.
Well, in theory, the bonds get paid first, right? If there's anything to pay. So
That's
he's
true.
going. If there's a dollar left over, it's his dollar.
Can you imagine being the very last creditor to get paid? You're like, here is your $2.50.
Hey man, that's vending machine money. You can get 2 Hershey bars. That's something.
Good point. Hey, barbarians, off grid, human genome.
Hey, how's it going? It's been a while. I have eaten a little bit of shit on my Zion play.
Morning, morning. Sorry, barbarians, you ate some shit on your play? Or sorry, was that barbarians?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Had a little bit of egg on my face.
Sorry, which play was that? Was that FRC?
No. It was the Zion, Zion stock play.
Let me pull it up and put it in the comments. I remember you bring.
What I want to talk about is RTX. Like, what's going on with that stock, y'all? They smashed earnings.
Yes, it did. It did smash earnings. 7% beat.
And they are just like, I guess people don't believe it. I don't know. It's like going down.
I just don't understand it, honestly.
Me neither. I'm like, well, maybe it's just delayed a day. Maybe it'll do something today. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I see nothing but good news.
Maybe some apprehension or something. I don't know.
Well, now there hasn't been any. If the thesis is wrong, or if it was just a bad freak accident in the market. That's the worst thing about having bad plays. Because you can't tell if it you were who were wrong, or if it was just an accident.
Yeah, I was expecting. I don't
know why, but looking at my portfolio today or yesterday, it performed worse than it has in about a year. Everything I own is in the red. So
right. Yeah. Yesterday was red.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Maybe we'll have an update today.
That's what I'm hoping for, but I'm thinking it might be an inbound. Like everything dropped because of a lot of instability, and then it's gonna pull back towards the end of the week.
I hope so. I hope so too.
Especially with the Fed rate announcement coming in a week.
If I don't have hope, why else am I gonna lose all of my money in the stock market?
Well, there's a certain amount of wishful thinking in I think anything you do, that involves making money.
There's a difference between wishful thinking and an educated guess.
True, very true. I guess there hasn't been too much news, like, as far as any kind of military movement or anything like that. It's been kind of quiet.
The fact that the Ukrainians are broadcasting their position implies to me this is a disinformation campaign, because there's no reason for them to give that sort of information away. Information asymmetry is the basis of most war.
Yeah, well, been a surprise, yeah. I mean, but
who's Robert Greene? What do you mean, Pseudo One?
I had to guess simply based off the name Robert Greene. I would say a child book writer, children's book author.
Hey everyone, judging by the title there, ATVI and Microsoft breakup, I guess the news is already broke, and I put it in the chat, but reading the bearish news from the final statutory report on the UK that they did not favorably approve of the merger, and it would reduce competition.
Microsoft, wow. So they jumped almost 300 a share.
No.
ATVI went down to 78 from, I think it was 87 pre-market.
Yeah, got it.
Microsoft was based off earnings, their rise, so I think the news
was doing well this morning.
Whoever was asking about ChatGPT and GPT-4, yes, I use both the GPT 3.5 and 4 models. The problem is that the GPT-4 API has gotten progressively slower with time, and so there's not really much I can do about that. I've been shifting a lot of my text-based LLM workflows to GPT 3.5 where I can. Incidentally, the plays for today, in the voice of Harley Quinn, have been put up both on WallStreetBets and on Half on a Double. What else? Someone asking about government defaulting on debt. It may very well be possible, but what's unique about the US government is that it has the ability to print its own money, and the debt is denominated in that money. So theoretically, they can print the debt away. Of course, doing so will require massively increased yield, so there's a disincentive, but it's definitely a possibility as a last resort before defaulting.
They haven't been shy about turning the money printer on yet.
Oh.
Well, fair.
What's everyone's opinion on FRC? It dipped down to 555 this morning. It's kind of hanging below 7 now. You guys think it's going to go up or just go bust?
I think banks are going to do, regional banks are going to do poorly. They've been shouting it for a couple weeks now.
I think there's a legitimate chance that the Fed continues to raise the interest rates by another like 25 basis points. So that would continue the trend for paying on any long-term maturities they've got, like bond-wise.
Someone asking in the comments about Muni-Arb, and it only works if the municipalities don't bankrupt. If they do, then we're in the same problem.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned it, Hardy, is there's 8 major cities in the third largest agricultural state that are called bankruptcy. Or 8 major cities and towns. They don't have that many cities. I apologize. Now, it might not be the move yet. Chicago, in 2 quarters. I didn't know if you wanted to explain it now or just maybe consider it as something.
I don't think it's accessible to the everyday ape.
Disco.
So with the ATVI news, just kind of want to ask your all's opinion on long-term, like just options expiring in August being the next U.S. decision for regulators here, with now UK being, bearish news breaking this morning. Do we think there's a case still for the merger to close, or how would the UK's decision affect that? Is it recoverable, or is it just like game over for the merger? I ask because I don't truly understand, like, international business decisions where like different nations are somehow weighing in on individual corporations across the boundaries.
Hey Hardy, question for you. People are quoting your website in chat. Do you make every single play you put on there?
I do not.
Okay, I figured.
But all the plays are off of the same thesis. So think of it like a menu, right? You don't eat everything off the menu in the same sitting. You pick and choose the ones you like based on whatever additional criteria you want to apply to it. And also, I do want to point out, not every price target is hit. So in practice, I would anticipate that most people would choose to enter maybe 50% of the plays that are put up, and of those 50%, another 20%, so 10% overall, are actually entered. The numbers might go up or down week over week, but over the course of several months, I would expect maybe 10 to 15% of plays actually entered, especially if you enter at the target price.
Yeah, I highly recommend against going on every single play because I've done it on some bad months. And while I could continue to do it and get that Sharps ratio of like, what is it, like 55%, I've got screwed.
So the Sharp ratio is like 1.6 or 1.7 if you go every play. If you're more selective and you do additional analysis on top of that, it's not hard to get your Sharp ratio above 2.
Yeah.
And for the record, for everyone else, if you can consistently keep a Sharp ratio above 2 and scale that to $100 million, there'll be plenty of funds who will throw all that money at you.
All right, everybody's asking in the chat. It's halfonadouble.com. Halfonadouble.com.
Thank you everyone for posting it to the chat. No, I couldn't buy HOAD.com. The guy who owns that particular domain wanted $2 million for it, and then, well, no, not worth it. I do not know, and active radio, I do not note which plays I enter because I know that some people are going to blindly follow in and not follow the risk management I set out. So I try to leave enough of a buffer between those degenerates. I'm not even sure I should call them apes. Those degenerates and my own trading.
So sort of like an IQ test.
It's a very Darwinian approach to things. Delorax, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the Activision Microsoft deal? And apologies, everyone. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Nervous structure. What are you talking about? The Harley Quinn graphic is generated by Stable Diffusion using a prompt generated by GPT-4.
Well, I was saying that was the visual cue for the link in the chat for somebody that had posted 3 pages below it. That's all.
Got it. Okay. So in terms of Activision, I would probably wait a week because, or let's see, when's the next earnings? Maybe it's close. What do you know? Their earnings is on Thursday. Aftermarket. So it's probably not much you can do. The price has already fallen back to 78 a share from 86. So I would probably stand aside on Activision until the next quarter's earnings are reported. Because at that point, the rest of Wall Street will have normalized what a good IV is and expectations on the company's performance. DOS Masterify, I use the API for GPT-4. I don't have anything on-prem. Google earnings report, if I remember correctly, they announced an $80 billion share buyback to be financed by all the savings from layoffs and whatnot. I use GPT-4 for a bunch of things. So, I mean, the first is to rewrite my original due diligence that I used to post every day to WallStreetBets in the tone of different voices. So I've got Harley Quinn, I've got Borat, I have Dr. Seuss, and other. I have an anime waifu. That one wasn't too popular. If you have suggestions for voices or characters, I'm happy to add those to the queue.
I can't believe the waifu wasn't popular.
I think if the picture that was generated in Stable Diffusion was more alluring, people would look past it. I do have Yoda queued up, Pseudo One. Arnold Schwarzenegger? Sure, we can try that.
I was gonna say the genie, Robin Williams, the genie.
Ooh. Okay. Thank you for. Well, we can try. I don't know how good it'll show up. The LVS puts I intend to hold until it's no longer a good trade. So I know they're up in pre-market. Let's see, half on a double. Go to the chart. And fuck, the website broke. All right, I got to see what happened. LVS. So I'd probably look to get out once LVS hits maybe $60 a share, or slightly lower. I don't know if it can drop any faster than that.
Can we talk back to the subject on like the U.S. Budget ceiling again, and just like SPX as a whole, where we think it's headed? I know someone mentioned that we can print money here in the U.S. However true that may
ceiling,
be, like it still needs to be approved by Congress for as opposed to like a annual budget or continuing resolution act. We are kind of in a different scenario here than like what the typical budget crisis is.
So in terms of the debt ceiling, it's gonna go up. It's very unlikely that won't happen. The problem is, what's it called? The problem is there's gonna be a lot of deal making and compromise and like bill stuffing that will go along with the debt ceiling increase. So it's unclear to what extent those compromises will be made.
You mean pork barreling?
Right,
Is that the word you're looking
100%
for?
agree. I wonder
No,
though, like
not pork barreling. That happens more like for relief bills. So hurricane relief, if the bill is titled some sort of hurricane relief, that's where a lot of the pork tends to show up. Because it's basically a spending bill. Someone asking about Roku, eBay, and Domino's. They could each go down or go up. The easiest way to see what the market is expecting is to price out a hypothetical strangle on a hypothetical at the money or slightly out the money strangle on the ticker, and then figure out your IV crush from that. For those of you suggesting characters, I please ask that they be fictional characters, not actual people, because especially if they're living, if only because living people can sue you, dead people cannot. And fake people, imaginary characters, also can't sue you.
where does Chuck Norris fit into that category? Is he real or?
I did a Buzz Lightyear, Alexander.
So with all like the negotiations in Congress to pass the budget ceiling, and I haven't seen anything in the news since earlier in the year, do we think as we get closer to June, when initially they said they would run out of funds that they're effectively borrowing from U.S. postal workers and federal government employees to continue operating the U.S. Government, as that gets closer to June, do we think that news will reappear and spark the markets back into a sell-off out of just fear?
Plausible. I don't know how to measure it.
I mean, why don't you just look at what the market did in 2014 and 2011 when we had, the debt ceiling? It's not like this hasn't happened before. It's happened multiple times. So there's data for you to back test against. You should do that.
Is that the debt ceiling or a government shutdown?
That was government shutdown. That was full-on shutdown. One of them lasted for over a month, guys. I mean, you guys should go back test this stuff. I mean, this is not something that's never happened before.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is one party is going to hold the other hostage by forcing the government shutdown.
And so just kind of with that in mind, and like SPX market structure looks like it's kind of ranging maybe at the top of a range right now. If we look out like 3 months or so, do y'all think it's a fair, this is all like speculative bets, but like a fair play to maybe just do kind of a bearish spread or something, a couple 100 points below where it's at today? Or would you be bearish, like in the midterm?
I'm broadly speaking neutral at the moment, mainly because there isn't a reason to be bearish. The reason to be bearish will come if the Fed raises rates again versus holds or pauses the rate hikes in May. I also need to see what the market expectation is for May. If the expectation is another rate hike, then that shifts the thesis a bit.
So keep in mind as you talk debt ceiling, that was a one-time thing that the government was shut down, and it was when Congress was heavily leaning towards one side, and so they could shut it down. Congress is a little more evenly split. It won't take a ton of compromise to get the debt ceiling raised this time. I'm not saying it's impossible to not happen, just that it's not as complex as it was in the past. It's not so heavily weighted.
So my SPY 428 on 428 is looking like it's not going to pay out. Another news, I've decided to hold my dole position for another calendar year in honor of Harry Belafonte, as well as the fact that it has just this sick dividend on it, dog. I mean, I'm just happy to hold the dole. Total the dole.
Before I jump down, you guys, I wanted to ask real quickly what y'all thought about what do you think Fox News is gonna do, as far as filling that Carlson hole? And
I don't
what do you
think it's
think that
going to
looks
matter.
like long term?
I don't think it's going to matter in the age of influencers.
Think somebody will fill that hole just as easily, because he had a following,
Oh, he still does, but I don't think it's going to be exclusive to any major news network. I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to increase the amount of smaller or mid-sized pundits and their followings. So
Yeah, I would agree with that.
part of the issue, and that way you can pay less for them, because theoretically 1 million follower pundits are cheaper than one 10 million follower pundit.
Just think about too, like the audience base of who follows those Fox News anchors and like relatives, crazy uncles, parents that are, in their 50s, 60s, and compared with like the new generation of like TikToker, YouTubers that really probably don't even watch Fox News.
That makes sense. That's definitely the flip side of my thesis. Because I figured, it would definitely affect their stock price. If anything, short term.
Long term, they might be challenged just with the change in media and how it's being consumed.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm at work. I'm gonna jump down, you guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I think they should just use AI to resurrect Rush Limbaugh and just like this unholy fusion of punditry and technology. That would be amazing.
I like it. And then let's bring back MTV and some holograms of Tupac.
Sam Kinison.
Yeah, that would be interesting, having Tupac on Fox News.
Did you guys ever see the auction for Christie's for Tupac's love letter or his breaking up letter to Madonna that auctioned off a couple years back? It's well worth checking out. Has anyone driven by or gone into an FRC, by the way, in the last day?
Rush Limbaugh is very much alive, Charbroil. And I haven't, but there are videos of people not being able to withdraw money, so government takeover seems imminent. And then we'll figure out how much unrealized gains FRC had.
Well, thank you for saying that finally.
Oh, is he dead? Apologies, I didn't realize. Now let's see.
That's why I was saying you'd have to use AI to resurrect him for Fox News.
He died in 2021. Okay, so this is pretty recent.
He was kind of a ghost of a guy for the last couple of years.
He might have an estate though that might sue you. Just saying.
Skull, there's a big Ohio earnings.
Sorry, you cut out there, Chief. All I heard was something about Ohio. What was up?
There's an Ohio centered the convenience store that's smaller than the 7-Eleven, second largest convenience store thing. What is it, Hess? Is that today? Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Just because it was Ohio.
Not especially.
No,
I know they exist. That's about it.
Same. Safeway was, I guess, 92 or so, if I remember correctly. But that's about all I really recall about them. But I am seeing during post-gentrification in several major cities a lot of gas stations, the third-tier ones that are for lease or just sitting empty now for over a year and a half. Kind of odd. Just saying.
I had a question for Hardy. What do you think the survivability of FRC is looking like in the future? Is it going to go completely to zero, or do you think it's going to get bailed out and at least exist? Maybe go up a little bit?
Hard to say, but I'm more concerned about the contagion effect. To what extent will the bigger banks bail out FRC in order to allow those unrealized losses to stay unrealized?
I agree with that. I bought puts on PacWest, Green, and I bought puts on FRC the other day, and I got rid of those yesterday. I don't know if it's going to go up or down, so it's still quite a gamble, but I'm holding the bag on it now for a while, so just trying to make a little money here and there with puts in the calls to even out.
Hard to say. Short answers, I don't really know.
Yeah, it's a gamble. It could go either way, like 50-50.
Leap and Leopard posted an interesting chart there in the comments about how tight our monetary policy is right now into money supply contraction. Yeah, it is very extreme. I'll agree with you on that.
Is that spike COVID?
Yeah, that spike was all the COVID money printing and it dumping into the market.
So relative contraction is what? Let's say 7.5%. Is that what you're implying? We go from 6% up to 1% down over 2.5 years.
Yeah, which is incredibly steep. I mean, that's a huge change too.
I get it. JNS8. Well, I can't pronounce your name, but are you talking about the Activision merger? We went over it, and the short answer is not going through. Koala, I thought it was going to be Applesoft.
So what happens to my Activision calls now? They go to zero, I'm guessing?
Probably.
Probably.
The volatility. The vol surface definitely shifted because the price effectively dumped whatever that was, 12% or 14%.
Did they call off the acquisition?
I believe the UK regulator rejected, and I don't know if either company is appealing it.
Yeah, UK rejected it, so now they're a little stuck.
It just, well, the easiest way around it is for Activision to divest the UK business, and then Microsoft merges with what's left. Whether or not they're going to go through with it is unclear.
It seems, from what I could gather from it, the biggest concern is around specifically Call of Duty and its impact on other consoles, other companies like Sony and Nintendo. I don't know. So I don't know if there's an angle Microsoft can play from that one, some reassurances they can make. But that seems to be what's really holding it up.
Microsoft and Activision both plan to appeal the decision. Activision basically said that with the UK denying, they're going to reevaluate their investments in the UK. And Microsoft had said that they were going to agree to a 10-year contract, basically saying that they were going to, make all of the games and whatnot available to, everybody.
I fully believe Microsoft will find a way through this, by the way. This is going to date me a bit, but for those of you who remember the early days of the internet, Microsoft got in trouble with Internet Explorer being like the default system for all their operating systems. And they pretty much compromised by just being like, we'll allow other stuff too. And that solved them as well. So they've dealt with this type of stuff plenty of times throughout their history and found ways to compromise.
Stipper, to answer your question, yeah, I've had that status for a long time. It doesn't mean much other than you can get more favorable option pricing. I pay like less than 30 cents a contract.
I mean, if it really comes down to it, I won't be surprised if they just spin off Call of Duty into its own company.
And yes, Shipper, that is true, you pay exchange fees. But at that volume, it comes out to like tenths of a penny.
looks like Norfolk Southern beat their earnings for EPS anyway. I think they missed on revenue because of, that whole, derailment thing.
Free market.
I don't know if we addressed this already, but how are we staying with those LVS splits? I still got in the green, but I figure we should hold off for a little longer. That question would probably go to Hardy.
Sorry, what was the question?
You still holding on to the LVS put?
Yeah, I'm still holding on to the LVS puts. We'll see how that goes.
I'm sorry?
We'll see how it goes. I'm still hanging on.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to see if you were still in there. See if it goes any further. I just got in here, so I appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks for the background, MacArthur. Plenty of municipalities have gone bankrupt, but nothing on the size of, like, Atlanta.
What about Detroit?
Last 10 years. I don't think it's gone bankrupt in the last 10 years. Prior to that, yes.
Does anyone remember when Puerto Rico tried to file for bankruptcy?
I have not heard of TYL, but why should I, Eager? ENPH and phase. Did they gap down? Oh yeah, they did. Okay. That's an interesting thesis, Eager Beaver.
Yeah, since you guys are mentioning it now, what happened to Enphase yesterday?
Earnings? Beat expectations.
No, I mean like, I mean like bad guidance. Like what exactly happened?
What's it called? They warned that solar sales are declining.
Yeah, their forward guidance was pretty bad, but they beat earnings by like 14% and so forth. Pretty sad to see it dump that hard.
I'm looking forward to the fire sale of any inventory. Maybe I can put myself a string of panels up here in New York.
I don't think they're like Bed Bath & Beyond situation.
No, I don't want a Bed Bath & Beyond situation. I want a, hey, we're offering you last generation's inventory at an even bigger discount.
Boast or some sales.
That kind of sale, yeah.
Isn't New York a terrible place to have solar?
It would be novelty more than practical, at least at the consumption that I currently have. I'm like, in the summer I do maybe 1.2 megawatts a month, but all other times of the year 400, 500 kilowatt hours. So like, the savings from the investment doesn't justify it yet. But it would be a great excuse to have a pergola on my on my terrace.
Hey Hardy, are you actually in the city?
Yeah, I'm in Long Island City, so just over the East River.
I was just wondering because I thought somebody had told me once that you can't have solar panels on any buildings if you actually live like in the city limits, right?
You can have solar. The problem is getting the permitting approval for it. However, underneath a certain power, you don't need a permit. I forget what the threshold was, but considering the amount of ground space I have, there's no way I'm stuffing 40 kilowatts of power here.
I have a
maybe I was thinking like you're not allowed to have like the battery backup storage.
I don't know about that. If you wire it into the electrical, you need to go through the permitting process. But otherwise, you just call it a UPS, uninterruptible power supply.
Nice loophole.
I wouldn't call myself a prepper. I am, however, an opportunist. So, as a quick example, the bulk electricity rate in New York goes as low as 1 cent kilowatt hour, whereas the fixed rate is as high as, I think it's 18 cents. So hypothetically, if I can load shift my electrical consumption by charging a battery during the off-peak period, and then draining the battery during the peak period, I could theoretically save 17 cents per kilowatt hour consumed. But at my current consumption rate, it doesn't make sense. That 17 cents would require effectively 8 years to pay off a battery system. Also, Powerwall on a cost per watt is like 3 times the price of using something like EG4.
pretty genius, though. I have a small solar array. I live in Philadelphia in the city. I have 5 panels. They're the Harbor Freight 100-watt panels, $100 on sale each. They work great. They're like 90% efficient. I have a 180 amp hour battery bank, which is kind of small, but it overcharges them every day. If it's sunny out, it's going to be overcharged. You got to put like a load on it.
What's the wattage on everything?
It's just 500 watts potential, but of course with the efficiencies, it's a little lower. But I get
meant
like
on the battery pack, because 100 amp hours at 12 volts or 48 volts makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's a 180 amp hour. It's got 2 batteries and a 12 volt parallel bank.
Okay.
A lot of stuff on it. Like I run my security cameras, a PoE system. I have a small refrigerator running on it. Wireless mesh router.
Oh, MacArthur, you absolutely can prep in New York. The easiest way to do it is to be at the top of a staircase. That anyone who's heavily armed trying to rob you is going to have a lot of trouble bringing it down because the elevators don't work. There are no downspouts here, miserable dink. The drains are internal to the building.
Yeah, definitely easy to. And, I have
go ahead.
I have a small yard in my backyard, and I have 32 quail now. built like a giant greenhouse. I turned into an aviary, so I got fresh organic eggs every day. Playing a lot.
MacArthur, understand that I have maybe a 7-day. I can hole up here for 7 days, after which I need to go to like another house. So I'm hoping in the event of Moasis to buy up maybe an abandoned mining town or something, and then make my Fortress of Heartitude.
That would be awesome. That's definitely a goal.
Then I can just disappear and live off the fuck you money.
That is the goal. Get off grid, out of the system, be self-sufficient, be safe.
I thought about buying a military base, but there's so much contamination, and the same goes for offshore rigs. You need a really strong desalination setup.
I had a mini distiller. It's a 110 bowl. It sits on the countertop. It's like stainless steel grade, and it does like 1.5 gallons. I don't know, like 4 to 8 hours, but it's the purest water I've ever had in my life. Basically boils it, turns it to steam, then condenses the water droplets, which is just pure water, then all the contaminants get left behind in the primary tank.
The offshore rig Zima was more an thought experiment, because I do have prepper acquaintances, so being able to talk in an informed way really helps.
I do a lot of so they can work on like a private mesh network or the internet, so it's push to talk, speak with anyone in the world instantly. Uses the Mumble platform, but it's cross-platform, iOS, Android, Linux. And then also there's LoRa communication modules, which is long-range Wi-Fi standard, where you can basically send encrypted text messages and make your own mesh network leapfrog. And they have existing IoT networks across the nation already. But it's an interesting, encrypted, safe way to communicate when we have another riot situation or things go bad.
And that's market open.
Someone said everyone stare at your 1-second charts. Hilarious.
You stare at charts, you gotta look at the level too. That's where it's at.
I'm not even doing that. I'm driving a car right now.
Wi-Fi works in a crisis, MacArthur, as long as you have power. What you lack is internet.
I got you beat, Scald. I'm driving tractor trailer.
That's the other thing I have.
Oh man.
5G Wi-Fi hotspot for T-Mobile, so that has a battery and it also runs off the battery bank. So if I lose electric and internet, I still have electric and internet pretty much with it.
You need the other end though, right? If the tower's down, your antenna is useless.
This is very true. That's why I love experimenting with Wi-Fi mesh networking, like Mesh-tastic protocol or like Open WRT router instead of in Flash. And you can kind of create your own off-grid private mesh network between your neighborhood, your communities, or you can set up unidirectional long-range Wi-Fi antennas to family members that are a little farther away and kind of still have access to them. Some people, they make pirate boxes, which are basically the internet condensed down into like a wiki or several things and placed on a device that's connected to their Wi-Fi network, like a Raspberry Pi with all the information on it. It can be accessible.
We could probably have like the GPT-4 model or the Alpaca model because it's kind of a pseudo everything repository of knowledge. You just got to feed it electricity, and you basically have all common knowledge available to you.
That would be awesome. That is the goal. Now, is that can be stored offline on a device, or does it still have to be connected to like their servers or something?
So the model has to be loaded onto one GPU. They don't yet have parallel GPU processing, so theoretically you just need one particularly expensive server.
Okay, and then that you can host not connected to their proprietary servers.
Well, you'd need the model, like the weights of the model itself. But my point still stands. The world's knowledge, for the most part, fits into one server. Yeah, Ubiquity's last mile thing, that's not reliable in poor weather.
Whoa. World knowledge fits on one server? How do you get that?
If you ask GPT-4 anything, Scald, all the common, like, anything that's factual and common is known by the GPT-4 model. Now, if you ask...
but they're running at least, I know for a fact they've got at least 4 racks rented at a data center here. All 42U. It's more than one server. 4 racks,
right,
that's 42.
But how many, how do I put this? What's the minimum hardware requirement to process one query?
Oh, okay, that's fair.
The 42U rack is to process thousands of queries.
Right. Nope, I'm tracking now. You're right.
I guess maybe an NVIDIA Nano Jetson or Jetson development module with AMD or an NVIDIA CUDA graphics card to do the processing.
You just need an A100 to run the GPT-4 model. So hypothetically, all common knowledge fits on one A100.
Yeah, and they're only like $14,000 new. Not even that bad.
And they're already being phased out in favor of the H100s. So $10,000 for a rig with a used A100 that has the knowledge of the world? Not bad.
Not bad at all. I gotta look in and see what the processing requirements, the GPU requirements. I'm not too familiar with those specs.
So MacArthur, I would think of it more like a collection, an encyclopedia, whose knowledge would include survival guides, maintenance tips, not Jenny made Andy feel bad, how can we make Jenny feel better? Or not rewrite this announcement in the style of Dr. Seuss.
Could be like a stripped down version that just focuses on those parameters.
I mean, that's what the military survival guides and manuals were meant to be.
Yeah, there was a project like a decade ago called the Pirate Box, where they would take a Raspberry Pi 3 and they would do something similar but on a smaller scale.
I get it.
So I think there's a lot of interest, and like it also served as a Dropbox for messages, encrypted messaging, and video and streaming, and sort of services like this, all in one.
Anyway. I thought they were practical. Well, the survival manuals that I have are a bit more practical than that. How to find the water to drink, for example. You probably wouldn't need system engineering or systems of systems when you're in a survival situation. MacArthur?
Have you ever considered something that allows huge amounts of gravity-based storage for growth, like a rice silo, perhaps, where there's a lot now available? If you have any interest, I'll send you a couple pictures of the one.
Not specifically, but my understanding is that the silos are basically giant aluminum or steel cans. So if one portion of the wall is compromised, the rest of it will collapse.
Give me a second. I'm gonna edit out some distinguishing features, and I'll send you, but not at all in the case that I went. You might have interest in it. I'll send it to you.
Hardy, you are correct in your understanding of the general weak points of silo structure.
This is a very notable silo that I've had for a while.
Just PM me if you want to.
It's not metal for the most part. And it's rather old. Sending it out, I believe. I'll send you the main picture of the silo once I edit out when I need to edit out.
Yeah, no problem.
But I totally disagree. With that, in terms of historically in certain areas, at least. I have pretty good interest in this.
Anyway.
Also, I wanted to ask you: have you ever considered a good rainfall catch system? Obviously, you use, but a green roof, and then linking through.
So
to,
back when I lived in the suburbs, I did have an IBC system that was basically gray water for irrigation. Like I have the knowledge, I don't know if I have the willingness to build it up again. But we had what was it 4 IBCs on site, so like 1,200 gallons of storage, and it was worthwhile. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to use the IBCs as thermal mass, especially when the ground is right there. Oh, fuck that. That's why you're living up to your username there, miserable drink. And congrats on those puts, Shava. Military design secrets are for things that, like, the effective range of a weapon system, or the speed of a reload mechanism. It wouldn't be for something like building a shelter from nothing. Yeah, don't worry about it, Nervous. Yeah, I don't have the skill to refine uranium.
Not with that attitude, Hardy.
I mean, if I had access to fissionable material, no problem. Because the refining is the difficult part. Just ask Iran.
You just gotta build a centrifuge. I believe in you.
How touching. So yeah, plenty of thought experiments on prepping and preppering. It's funny enough, I used to own a website that catered to prepper types. Sold it to a guy who started up an e-commerce business off of that website.
Very nice. I made a website that's similar for preparing and stuff, like Raspberry Pi based police scanner, Wi-Fi walkie-talkies, the mesh routers, LoRa communicators. Good water. I can put 20 together and focus on it more.
That balcony hot tub, I don't know if that was meant to hold that much water. Like, I know it's cantilevered and such, but I don't think it was rated to hold, let's call that 3 cubic meters of water, or maybe 4 cubic meters of water, so that's, what's that, 4.5 tons? Why do you need a master's in machine learning weekly tradition? You could just as easily start now. I'm not so sure about that because the glass, that's got to be some sort of tempered glass, so it works in both tension and compression.
It's the actual like concrete on the bottom that would be worrisome, and how it's connected. If it's rebar, non-rebar, almost guaranteed it's probably rebar.
But the joint that would probably fail is what holds it to the building, unless you're using like a really thick girder.
Yep.
Anyway, good to see that the prepper community is alive and well amongst the apes. Cliff Notes Couch Lion is deals off. And because the deal's off and the news has already been made public, there's not really much of a play on that deal, on that merger. Completely. It's unclear to what extent Microsoft or Activision will try to appeal the UK government regulator. All right. Separately, is anyone here an expert on home batteries? I've been looking at the economics of load shifting. I mean, GPT-4 can only get you so far.
Hardy, there's a gentleman by the handle of Moneybug. He's maybe a little young, but he actually does this in upstate. He might be worth talking to. He's a very kind of aloof person, but I think that is actually maybe his specialty in doing it. I think he's doing a small farming project. But Moneybug is his name.
Thank you.
No problem.
901 Funk. Someone's already tried that, and the problem I have with wrecked EV batteries is you don't know how deeply discharged they were by whoever owned them. So you'd need to do a good amount of conditioning on the cells to make sure they're usable in like a home battery situation. And the charge-discharge curve for EVs are much more aggressive than a home battery. Personally, I would look at the bigger lithium iron phosphate cells. Anything cells like, what was it? On a cost per watt, the EG4 batteries are actually quite nice. But the part I'm having trouble figuring out is calculating the payoff and how wide a spread is needed between off-peak and peak power to justify that sort of installation. What do you mean marine options nervous structure? For batteries?
For batteries and for modular parts of the system, it's been a very large sector of advancement, especially out of out of France specifically. But I also think maybe if you talk to Simple, because I believe Croatia, I forget if it's Serbian or Croatian, but Croatia actually has been doing a lot with it too. But give me a little bit. I'm on two things, but I'll get you a link to one of the companies I know that that's kind of the forefront of the new marine works for
All right,
for
appreciate it.
battery systems. Oh, also, if you find yourself in Lower East Side, if you ever walk over to the old Forward building, if you're familiar,
Yeah.
Okay, great. The architect who lives in the penthouse there, who designed it and did that, is also an engineer, Ron Castellano. He's a very amiable fellow, and a lot of this he has some like very interesting designs that he's done over the years himself in engineering that he's very happy to share. Typically, I haven't talked to him in 3 years because he got taken into that whole whatever the fake socialite thing was and ended up in court with it, and so he kind of has been dipping out. But I've heard he's now hanging out at 169 bar a lot. But if you can't miss him, and he loves to tour people through the building and show some of the systems that they've done there, because he illegally set up a lot of power stuff very early on there, especially for the restaurant next door. But Castellano, Castellano. He's really good with green roofing.
Bourbon. You there, Bourbon?
Unfortunately.
Hey, man.
What's up, buddy?
Remember I was like holding those Microsoft puts?
Yeah.
I sold them yesterday before it went up.
Well done.
Yes.
Thank God. Yeah, I had Activision calls too before. I think I sold them off like 2 days ago. Or no. Yo.
Yeah. I still got meta puts, but I'm down on the position. I have earnings after hours tonight, so.
You still in 3M?
Yep.
Those ones went up nicely yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meta
I got out yesterday. I just didn't want to hold anything for these crazy earnings, man.
I sold my morning. I should have sold them yesterday afternoon, but stop loss trade. Sold them at 60 cents. I think I got in at 20 cents. So I'm still holding the Taiwan semiconductor puts. They're still. And I'm thinking about getting calls on maybe.
And face down 25%. Sheesh.
It's okay, nervous. Oh, man. What the fuck?
Should have held my puts on FRC.
Yeah, there was some option chain activity for FRC puts with a strike of like $5. I think that came out like Monday.
I think those are going for 90 for expiring this week.
All right, I'm going full bear. I'm buying SPY puts. I'm shorting Nvidia. I'm shorting pretty much all of like the big tickers.
Yeah, I got a $5.19 $90 RTX put But I also have a 519 RTX 110 call, so we'll see. I'm trying to decide if I want to get rid of the put today and take some of that premium, but I'm kind of bearish too, so I'll probably hold the put. You guys ever see this movie called like the Octa Games? I just started watching it. It is crazy.
I mean, for me, either I'm gonna end up with like tons of FRC and then the market's gonna go up and then I'm gonna lose really bad, or market's gonna go down, FRC is gonna go down, and then I'll probably break a little bit even. But FRC's killing me. As long as they don't go, like, if they can stay alive for 2 more weeks, then I think it's smooth sailing. But just the pure amount of capital that is like being thrown against them to short is insane.
Yeah, I'm still holding the bag on FRC as well, but I got puts yesterday and they printed, and I just bought some more puts today just in case.
Oh, totally forgot. Yeah, I'm gonna short meta too.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a missed the boat to short FRC.
Short meta?
I facilitated people's ability to short FRC.
No, that's great. I'm just saying, like, going forward, I mean, it's fucking $6. What are you gonna do? Short it down to 4? I'm just saying, going forward, I would just get out of that. Find something else to do.
I mean, I'm still selling some puts, and I shouldn't be.
FRC?
I mean, if it's a small enough part of your portfolio, who cares? Keep doing it if it's working, you know? If you know it's gonna go to 3, go ahead.
So I exposed myself up to 8%, and then I had some numbers move differently yesterday, and so I'm less exposed, but man, thanks Haya, really appreciate it. The one person to always buy any of my puts. Not literally, so totally kidding.
No, seriously.
Yeah, Haya, it's a free market. You gotta compete with everybody else who wants to buy the puts I'm selling.
What do you... 23 days out. I don't like the number, but... I like the $5 puts $2. $2.10.
Damn. Chipotle's ripping, of all things.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, actually. So typically, I short the overpriced burrito company, but I had a pretty good sense that they were gonna overperform, and they did. And I'm really glad that I was not shorting the overpriced burrito company. But
Yeah, they're up almost 14.5% right now.
Yeah, I like to short them and then use their money to buy burritos. But those would have been the most expensive burritos to not be able to buy.
kind of seems a little counterproductive. Make money off of them and then give it right back to them.
What, like the government?
I didn't say I buy them from Chipotle. Everybody assumes that. But like, I can get better burritos for cheaper. It's not to say I haven't eaten Chipotle before, but
Yeah, you didn't specify where you were getting them from.
No, you did say I like to short Chipotle and then use it to buy their burritos.
I said buy burritos.
Oh, okay, my bad. I misheard then.
Opinion's recording it, I'm sure, and it'll be on YouTube. So if I did misspeak, somebody will definitely call me out, and then I'm gonna look like a fool.
I don't know. I'm pretty good at looking like a fool. I think I got you beat, bro.
That's crazy. Apparently they were upgraded to like 2270.
Well, okay, so to gentlemen, I do occasionally buy Chipotle's burritos. I have bought their burritos with like the funds that I've gotten from shorting them. I don't always do that though. Sometimes I buy burritos from nicer company.
Seems counterproductive.
Well, it's counterproductive in the fact that I don't see the profit from my burrito buying until like the next earning report.
How are you shorting them? Like directly, like selling one share?
No, I am shorting shares, but no, you don't make money just by shorting one share.
I know, but the price is pretty. Isn't it like $1,500 a share or something?
It's over 1,900 a share right now.
1,900 a share. It's crazy. Why don't they split it?
Probably because they don't need to. So I short a bunch of their shares and then I repurpose the capital to hedge against it. So that way, if something goes wrong, I'm not blown out.
Isn't that
But
like
their $150 plus movement, yeah, that would have been a sad day for burritos everywhere for me.
they're up $250, aren't they? Holy shit.
Oh, I didn't see they went up more. They're over 2,000 a share now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not tracking them for shorting right now because they've got way too much good stuff going on for them. Last quarter, they announced like a massive spend that they were doing some solar stuff and everything and being green. I can't afford to treat myself right now. FRC's like wrecking me. But anyhow,
It's a burrito place.
I might end up having to buy Chipotle.
Yeah. It's a burrito place that has a $50 billion market cap. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So that's why I always call them overpriced burrito company. Half the time I don't even call them by their name. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. But the amount of positive stuff that they have going on, combined with their strong EPS beat, yeah, they can go burrito themselves.
Yeah. I mean, what a candle. There. Some candles, baby.
Looks like Mara's up 15% too.
So if overpriced burrito company maintains this price into Monday next week, that's when I would actually look at taking a position against them. But honestly, I'm barely looking at it.
Mr. Sound, I don't know if you employ this, but if that's your strategy, are you familiar with with 26 US code 221, I believe. No, 1221, number 7, the hedging transaction statement made by the end of the day. It might be something you can take advantage of. Is the reason why. Yeah, US 1221 7.
What? I gotta look this up.
I'm almost done.
I think it would have been more helpful for anybody here if you actually explained versus just citing a bunch of numbers.
Well, I was giving it to you because it's the definition.
Got him.
Waist deep in something right now that's important. I just heard you for a second. I thought you could really benefit from it, and I won't remember. But if you remind me later,
did you call me Mr. Sound?
I didn't know how to refer to you. I apologize.
Oh, I'm a hat.
Capital. What?
Okay. If you message me in the chat later on in about an hour, I will happily do that. I'm just right.
Okay, what is that gonna do for what?
To dedicate a purchased equity transaction as a dedicated hedge, you can notate it for that for taxation purposes. For personal, it's a little known usage.
I pay a tax accountant, so like they go through literally every single trade that I do.
Understandable. However, in my experience, short of using a very good tax attorney, it's not something that's employed in a personal sense very often. And it's something you could probably benefit from. That's why I threw it at you. Like I said, I'll if you want to discuss it later, I'm more than happy to, and I'm more than happy to kind of explain it. I do have to run now. I just heard you, and I thought you could benefit. I would forget if I did not say it now. That's all.
No, thanks. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the explanation. Yeah, I have to file taxes, so that way the government can reaffirm themselves of how much I owe them. Although if FRC does get seized, I'm gonna have my work cut out for me this year. Alexander, I would have to be able to buy a clown mask. Four years. Ah, that's funny. It'd be longer than that. It's all good. All my short positions and my puts are making money right now, so. Like I said, I'm going full bear. I'm just not shorting FRC because I don't want to close the puts that I sold, and that would be like slapping myself in the face.
What are we buying, boys? I'm trying to lose more money.
FRC dip.
I literally bought another put on FRC like 15 minutes ago, and it's already green.
I had people on Reddit like message me, and like they were like all referring me to like a helpline, and I just like started laughing because, I mean, I'm not even remotely close to margin or anything like that. So. And then even still, I would just have to refund the account that got blown up. Now, BBBY, yeah, they're dead. Good luck to anybody. Still playing tolls. And for anybody wondering, I did close some of my FRC puts. I'm still holding the majority of them. I closed the ones that had the cheapest cost to close with the highest risk. Still open.
just waiting for GameStop to get to 16, 17, and then I'm buying calls for June earnings. It's at about $19, $18 right now. Stock in GameStop.
I mean, I just hope we all make it to June at this point.
You hope we make it to June? Why wouldn't we make it to June?
Are you looking at like the broad spectrum of like the market right now and the massive pullbacks that are happening? Like this is like in preparation for May sell-off, it feels like.
Yes, but we know that.
And I mean, everything's like pushing down.
Yeah. Buy puts, sell short. You'll be farting through silk by June.
No, I know. I just said I'm going full bear, man. I'm direct shorting the SPY. I'm buying puts. So in good practice, I'm buying the puts before I short.
I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, farting through silk is an expression. My only problem with like actual silk is when you get it for sheets, like it's very easy to get ruined if you have pets.
That's right.
I mean, if you have any silk like sheets or anything like that, or silk like pillowcases, trust me. If you don't have pets, avoid getting them unless you like having to rebuy sheets all the time.
Pac West did all right. By me.
Yeah, Pac West saved me a good amount. I've been really worried if both Pac West and FRC did that. So FRC is incredibly shorted Few Bumble. And the last time that I looked at their financials, which was at their release, they were above water. However, they have a significant amount of like zero interest assets that they acquired through facilitating lending operations with like their wealth clients. So imagine getting like a 30-year mortgage at 0% interest. Or no interest for 10 years. So technically that money is just kind of like losing water, I would say, or like kind of like it's got like a hole in the bucket. They're not actually per se losing money, but the value of those assets being held long term is negative to their balance sheet. Yeah, so they're Okay, so Zim, I know you're very, 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 very bearish on FRC. So the reason why they're trading at significantly lower than book value is that there's a lot of a short interest right now on them. It just the numbers got updated today, and it's huge. And that's just that's not any dark pool or anything like that. Try to take a look at dark pool too, but it's easily 50% of like their float is shorted. At least 25% or higher confirmed.
Yeah, it's gonna get squeezed and probably pop back up to like 6 or 7. And everybody's got puts at 3 or 4, and they're gonna get taken out. And then it'll hit 6 or 7 or $8, and then turn right back around and go back down to 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, Morningstar targeted them for $3. Like that pissed me off. But I get where they're coming from, and I'm not gonna close my puts on it because you know what? I mean, I think they're gonna come out of it. There's too much capital that has been given to them by other financial institutions for them to actually go under right now. Still. Although everybody's like freaking out and saying like, yeah, like they're gonna go under, blah, blah, blah. And media campaigns, man, if there's even 1/1,000,000th of a percent of something bad happening, they're gonna say it for clicks. I know, and why do you think there's large buys that are happening? They did suspend their dividend though. Keep that in mind.
Dang, so is it deep fucking value now? What are you saying?
I'm selling so when I said I'm selling puts, still I'm selling them for $3 or less, and I mean within the next couple of weeks. I mean, if you go out longer, there were some puts that people were like selling that were being bought, and this was probably like a messed up bot or algo that were at strike or above strike. Yes.
Gotcha.
So like imagine a $1 put being sold for $1 or $1.10.
Nice. Just sold my RTX put, made 40%. It's aight.
Looks like FRC has halted going down 547.
I mean, I'm still holding like the $12 to $13 puts that I sold because I don't want to close them and realize the loss right now, I would say. I would rather hold until either, hey, they get seized, which I don't think is going to happen, or, one second. You probably hear my cat.
Yeah, I'm definitely holding the bag on FRC as well. I'm just trying to make some of that potential loss back with the puts now.
I'm looking forward to collecting the long-term short interest on it at this point, worst case scenario, because I don't think they're going to get seized. That would send a huge, massive message to all of like the financial market that just should not happen. So if FRC got seized, it would essentially be saying that, there you go, yeah, unwilling to intervene. It would literally be like, hey, you know what, you can get full funding and things like that, and massive amount of like financing from the largest financial institutions. And just still go under. It would be saying like liquidity is worthless in the market right now.
FRC just broke 499.
How are you hanging in there, Jeff, with Tesla? Continue its trend downwards.
Dude, I'm getting beaten like a dead horse.
I think it has more room down, bro. I'm looking at 140s now. Let's try to look at these charts. Yeah. Slightly one under 149 would be nice to see. Timmons, yeah, Tesla in the short term is going to be pretty painful as the price war continues on EVs, as well as with the economy's downturn, right? So are people going out of their way to buy super priced EVs, yellow loan cars? The answer is pretty obvious in that assumption. So that makes it tough, especially as Tesla competes with the other EV makers for the price war against who can make the cheapest for mass production. I don't doubt that Elon and Tesla could get out of that and figure it out, because they will. But at its current price evaluation, you really need to pay attention to the numbers.
Is there any news on like Cybertruck deliveries? Are those coming anytime soon? Because that'll probably be a big.
Yeah, and then that's another thing, right? Like the Cybertruck, and this is what I was telling people. I was like, where the hell's the news on the Cybertruck? Because, you know, the same old Tesla, Elon,
Doing prototype runs right now.
Huh?
Like they're doing prototype runs for regular production to be able to do the deliveries.
But when are they? What do they have an estimate yet on deliveries?
I'd have to look and reach out to some people. I thought they gave an estimate actually during their earnings. Yeah.
Q3.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Another stock I've been looking at is the Airbnb. Their last 3 earnings have actually been positive, so they're actually making money now. They got another earnings coming up on May 9th, I think. That's an interesting one.
So I've been bullish travel stocks. I would bundle Airbnb in that category. But the question is like, what did they anticipate last quarter for forward guidance? Like, were they expecting more bookings or what? And do they have houses on their balance sheet like Zillow did? I'm curious to know those numbers.
Yeah, I don't think they own any property. They're basically just a listing service. So they used to take like 3% of every listing. It's like they take much more now because of taxes and some other shit.
Okay.
But basically, they make about 3% for every single listing that's out there. So that's why they're kind of a little bit more resilient than other real estate stocks, because they're not, you know, if the listings go down, they lose money. But if they don't, they're never going to be forced sellers in the real estate market, right? So that's why I like the stock. And it seemed to be cheap at around $90. Right now it's kind of medium at 110 or 113. And it seems to be expensive about 120, 130. So I'm just kind of watching it right now. Everything's kind of sitting around in the middle right now until this kind of selling may go away shit happens. Yo, Jay Bourbon, what other travel stocks were you looking at other than Airbnb?
Also, fuck Airbnb.
He said, "Fuck."
Yeah, short them then. Fuck them.
Oh, pardon, I said yuck Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
I'm a civilized person.
Yeah, I mean, you got like your you have your airlines, then you have your cruise lines. I don't like plane either, so trying to find some of these travel stocks that I would really play. has been the challenge. Like you have Expedia, Airbnb, and then I forget the other travel booking company, what that one's called. But I would look for anywhere where they've been slowly climbing up or beat down that have promising outlooks. Because on a potential earning play, they could definitely moonshot. But if anyone knows any good travel stocks outside of airlines and cruise lines, please advise in the comments or here.
Yeah, and that's why I like Airbnb. They beat the last 4 earnings estimates.
Yeah, and Enphase beat the last fuck ton, and they got beat to death even with a 14% beat on earnings. Their forward guidance just wasn't what the investors wanted, and now they're going to fill the gap down. It looks like there's like a 128 gap fill that I was hoping they hit last time, but this time not so much. So earnings are being pretty surprising. It seems like a ton of people got Microsoft wrong and Google and so forth.
Yeah, I think Enphase will be more cyclical though than Airbnb, right? Because Airbnb is kind of an all-year thing. Even though travel does pick up in the summer, I mean, people are still getting a lot of revenue.
Solar tends to not do too good during the Q1 also.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I am most looking forward to Warner Bros. Discovery. They recently just announced that they're going to be doing a production of Beetlejuice 2. Now, I think they've got a good chance at nailing it. They've been really picky with how they've been doing movies more recently, and I think they could do it justice. Hey, I just like to send a friendly reminder, Max. You gotta cover yourself for the crazies. What I find funny is that when you take a really, really bearish stance on things, and then all of your bear positions start doing extremely well, any of like your margin accounts that you're doing that with, it's like your broker like suddenly is like released the Kraken of capital. So your short positions give you a further leverage to be able to short more. Yeah, hi. So when are you gonna buy me those drinks? Those $5 Cokes at Outback, I think you had said.
All right, fellas. I'll see you later. Good one.
Yeah, so if you're on the desktop version, you right click on it and then like, or you click on it. But if you're on mobile, you can tap on it and then you just like select the option, like drag up on mobile and click mute. And then you never have to listen to it again. Because unless the bot gets totally like redone, it'll stay muted. I mean, at this point, rounds on me. Jeez, what it feels like. I mean, what's a 4% loss one day, and then another 4% the next day? But I am proud to say that some of my FRC puts that I sold have breached negative 1,000%.
Very impressive.
I mean, that's a first for me. As FRC is coming back up, they that percentage is going down, but yeah, negative 1,000%.
Are you just taking assignment?
Yeah, I'm just gonna let it ride. I mean, I am at the point of like I specifically didn't set a max loss on this. Probably should have. but I did not expect shorts to enter this heavily against it, I guess, and I should have. I guess I didn't expect the media to sit there and run headlines that's like, FRC is dying, FRC is bleeding, FRC is getting kicked. Kick it harder, kick it harder.
Yeah, the big boys are getting in.
Yeah, I mean, it's been on and off Volta all morning, so that's nothing new. I mean, like, for me, I look at it, and the premiums are so incredibly juicy, minus the ones that I'm down 1,000% on. Those I had sold before, and yeah.
Better just take the. Are you selling calls against your put positions yet, or?
No, I'm not hedging or leveraging against it, against FRC, because I don't want to. It's the easiest way to explain it, because I've got enough hedging potentially done already with other stuff that I'm not incredibly worried, but like, I am losing money. That's for sure. Unrealized, at least for now. After this Friday, it'll become realized.
Oh, it expires this Friday.
Yeah. So my high contracts expire this Friday. So.
What were they again?
They're all around 12.5.
Rough.
Yeah. So I am actually risk adverse, but I don't think that they're going to go under. I don't think they're going to get seized. I think with the 25% of staff layoff that they're doing, and then like fixing their structuring and things like that, removing removing executive compensation and etc., and reducing, I think they're going to be okay. So I do think it's a buy the dip scenario. Really, the only risk at this point is they get seized. And they don't, they're, as much as the media is pushing for it, I don't think the government wants to seize FRC.
There's crazy amount of put options on Friday.
The amount of puts is one of the reasons why it's staying up as well as it is, because everybody and their brother seems to be betting against it.
Yeah.
And then thankfully those that aren't betting against are buying shares. Who's gonna pull the $30 billion? Like, JPM, I'm sure there's terms, and JPM isn't just gonna be like, hey, and all the other financial institutions are gonna be like, hey, we immediately need that funds, and you have to give it to us.
More like it.
Okay, so the financial institutions that gave them liquidity aren't going to pull the funds. That's completely out of the question.
Who gave them liquidity again?
Like JP Morgan, and like several other financial institutions. It was the large caps.
They're getting equity.
Yeah. Yeah, the only liquidity they lost is confidence.
Buying equity, or are they buying stock? Endorsement. Just give them money for nothing. They bailed them out.
Well, let me explain it differently. Everybody thought PacWest was gonna like completely blow their earnings and like get sent down to like $1. That didn't happen.
Even smaller market cap.
Well, they probably have some form of online banking. I have absolutely no idea though. But I'm sure that if you called them and asked them that like you wanted to open an account and make a deposit or something and qualify for whatever part of the institution you're reaching out to, maybe.
Yeah. Crazy, just like 2 months ago it was $120. FRC.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not as worried about even the puts that are going to get executed against, unless I don't see them getting back over $11 by Friday. So, I mean, like, shares secured.
Sell this Friday for 80 cents. $5 strike.
Holy cow. Haya is talking bullish sentiment. Is that, is the world ending on FRC?
vertical for Friday.
You bought shares? Oh my.
No.
I agree. No, I'm talking to Haya in chat. No, I agree. It's so incredibly oversold, and people just don't realize it, and people don't want to hear it. Like, look at the short interest data that just was released today.
I'm gonna do a vertical put credit spread. Probably won't get filled unless it drops quite a bit.
Yeah, like they're being shorted into pennies, man. And they shouldn't be pennies.
Right? Close to it. One more cent.
What are you saying right now, Lebowski?
I'm trying to sell a 4.5 vertical put. So I sell the 5, buy the 4.5.
I know, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the premiums are so incredibly juiced that it is ridiculous. Well, Haya, the money, so what's the most funny part is that a lot of like the freak out, walk away, and like deposit money all came back through the lending operations that were done to like ensure that they have the liquidity and the the assets on book to be able to facilitate anything, pretty much.
cents. One more cent.
So keep in mind that anybody that buys puts on FRC is actually giving capital at a significant rate for people to be able to push the price up. And they have a vested interest to maintain the price before the expiration of the strike within the capital allocations that they are able to facilitate based on their immediate funds and their additional funding that's received.
Maybe.
Go right ahead, Hyatt. Take the profits.
Trump.
Yeah, I definitely got puts the other day on FRC, and I picked up some more this morning. I consider it kind of a loan to myself since I'm holding the bag so much on them. Hopefully, make some of that money back.
I mean, I would need to actually buy shares in order to equate that way.
Yeah, I bought shares a while ago, and I got in at the wrong price. So I've just been holding it and making money on calls and puts in between to try to hedge against that potential loss.
Yeah, if Pack W didn't do so well, then I'd be singing a little bit different tune today.
Yeah, I had bought puts on them, and I should have cashed out yesterday before close. It was like up 200% or something. But I did trigger a stop loss this morning, got rid of them. I think I got in at 20 cents. I got rid of them for like 65 or something like that.
I was away for a minute. Anything new going on in the FRC world? Still dropping? Is it still on hold?
I don't know. I mean, my kids might be going to community college.
I doubt that, Jefferson. I really doubt that.
I know, I'm totally kidding. Couldn't resist saying it.
Right.
It looks like it's going back up. It's finally back over 6 now. My puts are no longer good.
Yeah, fuck your puts. And fuck my puts too.
I got them this morning, and then they went up like 20, 30%. I probably should have got rid of them, but I'm going to hold them and see what happens during the day. Bit of a gamble for sure.
You do you, man. Just like I do me.
Yeah, I'm still holding like 65 shares of FRC as well, so waiting for that glorious day when it turns green again.
I wish I only had exposure to 65 shares. That would be.
It'll go back up one day, one of these days. It's not today, I don't think.
I mean, I'm sitting around an average of 800% right now instead of over 1,000. So I've got that going for me.
Yeah, I got in high, and then with the money I made off of the puts and the calls, I averaged down. So that price is lower, but still, it's nowhere near where it's at right now. So I got faith in it for the future, but it's like a grim. I think it's gonna go back up.
The only reason like I have faith in them is that they're not underwater. So their assets, their total assets is above their total like needs for facilitation and debt. So
yeah, I think it's just
whether or not people put their money in or out, that's irrelevant for that kind of a purpose. So it just reduces their ability to generate additional revenue. But they're net revenue positive, so
yeah, I think it's just a lot of,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think it's just a lot of group fear that's driving it down. People are just jumping on it.
Herd mentality, ape. Yeah.
What's their book value per share?
Right now, or from earnings?
No, their book value. Yeah, I mean, from earnings. After earnings.
Anybody got it on hand? I'd have to look it up, but it's not small. Their actual book value, not the price.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 10% of like. I had a math calc on it. It was 10% of like some giant number. It is in the billions, so. So Stipper posted their current book value, but what I will say is that that is dated. It's probably using the December 2022 value. I don't want to mislead anybody. I would, yeah, per share is what he's saying. So I would love it to be that. So I don't think it's that. Oh, that is recent then? Oh, then yeah. Like that's fantabulous.
What's the number?
Per Stipper's screenshot, it's 96.61. Olenek, that sounds a little bit more like their book ratio. Book ratio versus book value. So like their book ratio is like 0.21. So 0.27 for their book ratio is probably what it was a little bit ago. Now like their price to book ratio is actually going to go up because the price came down significantly. So nope, you're totally good, Stipper. Max, you're on point. So Stipper is Max. So different usernames from different Discords, just like I'm Jefferson's Hat here. On a different Discord, I'm Jeff. On other different Discords, like I actually have punctuation and things like that to actually say Jefferson's Hat. Few Bumblebee. Computer questions should really probably be directed towards the like computer people subreddits, just because there are a shitload of people here, and we also probably a good amount of us, I'll say, have computer experience. Sometimes Decibel, but I have to have my contacts in. I wouldn't be selling as many puts as I have, and I wouldn't have sold the puts that I sold if I didn't think that FRC was a buy the dip thing. Also, fun fact, you can wear you can wear glasses that are zero, so it's just glass. And then people think you wear glasses. It's an interview trick that some people do. There's some weird societal perception that like people who wear glasses are smarter. At least in certain countries.
I wear my sunglasses at night. Does that count?
I wear sunglasses anytime I go outside, actually. It doesn't matter the time of day. Like people say that staring at the sun can hurt your eyes and things like that. You know what? That's like, what do you think stars are? They're just further away suns. Like, so yeah.
Don't switch the blade on the guy in the shades. Oh no. Don't masquerade with the guy in the shades. Oh no.
Yeah, I prefer indirect light and shade and things like that. I'm also pasty. Like what is like I think I've been told it's called like royal skin or whatever.
Yeah, like in China where all the
Yeah, no, like people not from like the US like have like said things like that. So I have no idea what it means.
well, it's like if you're working in the fields, you're like poor, so you have like a tan, right?
Oh, gosh, I never thought of it that way. Yeah. I burn with SPF 50 and SPF 100, so
It's like the reverse redneck, you know?
actually I like to tan with SPF 50. I typically don't get as much. No, I agree, feeling fun. I just I always try to look for the positive when people say things like that. I like to optimistically look at how people say things. So like if somebody comes up to me and like they're like "fuck you," I'm like, man, is this a term of like endearment or? So. And I try to read comments that way most of the time. But I feel like written tone is more easy to like understand in certain times.
Written tone? Like words and things.
Yeah, Leaping Leopard. My preferred time to tan is at night. So.
When I was in when I was in China, they typically don't go swimming there during the day because they don't want to get tanned. So they typically go swimming at night there. It was kind of weird. Interesting, I should say.
I don't blame them. I mean, like in daylight, I fry like an egg. So. So I prefer colder like weather and things like that, but I like going to the tropics. So mostly because I like the ability to be able to like go and pick fruit and things like that.
Orangutan and curacao come to mind immediately.
So my biggest problem with like going to the tropics and things like that is that I do melt like a snowman. And this is so the way that I'm talking, a lot of people are like, man, he's totally Canadian, and he's like up in Canada. So I've given up on like refuting things like that, other than just saying I'm not. But I do melt like a snowman. So when I go down to the tropics, I look like I'm like dying of like some disease because of like how sweaty I am. And then I get the wonderful phrases of I'm allergic to sunblock because I have to spray myself with sunblock all the time. So if you were wondering, yes, hats can get sunburnt.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I just want to let everyone know that Jesus Christ is the only way to eternal life. And if you turn to God and repent of your sins, you can inherit the kingdom of God. That's all. Have a good day, y'all.
So how do we make money off of that?
What's
the play? Strike and Dave.
Sell, if you have QQQ stock, sell it.
Sell? QQQ puts?
No, you just pass a plate around and ask for money.
Yeah, like I agree with Genome there. That's a better play.
Yep, no risk. Pass the plate around and just preach. You'll get money all day long. Look at that Joel Olston guy.
Yeah, I like him.
Selling God pays. Selling Jesus pays. Jesus is a capitalist.
So if you feel like you haven't been saved, any complaints or anything like that can certainly be sent to X, capital BA, sorry, lowercase ANME 420, good number, capital X, lowercase x. And I do not actually recommend reaching out to this person, just to clarify. But if you want to send them some spam or anything like that, don't actually do that, by the way, either. I'm not recommending sending anybody spam. But if you have some faith-based things that you want to send to the person, send it to them versus the chat.
Hey, if there's no sluts in heaven, that's the last place I want to spend eternity. Just send me right to hell.
So I'm controlling my laughter, but I mean, there is the saying, there's a snowball's chance in hell. So.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
What's the Northern Triangle? I'm not familiar with that term.
Probably somewhere in Canada. But in other news, Apple is up. Microsoft is also up. So if anybody's wondering why SPY is not going down, those are probably your two reasons right now. Starbucks is up. Fun fact, Funko Pops recently released a, if it's not recent then I could totally be wrong, but they released a Funko Pop at least that I saw, that was the Starbucks cup that made an appearance in one of the episodes. So it fully has its claim to fame. So they have a figurine of a Starbucks cup. Probably cheaper to just buy a Starbucks cup. Or go to Starbucks. And I will echo that, again, that's one of the reasons why Funko is like a company that I'm betting against. Tupperware, relatively flat today.
BBBY mooning yet?
It's still shorted.
Rumors have it that they're trying to construct a towel-shaped and materialized rocket ship to the moon, and they have thus not been successful. IV on SPY has shifted to bullish, if anybody hasn't seen that. So all of my bear positions are getting crushed now. However, FRC is not doing too bad right now. So I can't complain. No, their towels are neither fire resistant nor fire retardant. If you've ever tried to grab something from an oven with a towel from Bed Bath & Beyond, you probably had a bad day. Mid-30s bloomer. I don't know what kind of flowers you're growing, but whoever Peter is, they can like do whatever they want to do with gold. If you are trying to buy out for like 30 years and just hoping that precious metals like don't have anything else that can give them up, yeah, I would have to agree with Zima there. I will say FRC, unless it actually like rebounds significantly, my intention of getting a nugget for a doorstop completely shattered. I mean, fool's gold looks like gold, right?
And it's commonly found alongside real gold, actually, or in similar deposits as real gold. But you have to be careful.
Yes, Haya. Towel investors, per your statement, towel investors are regarded. They should be cared for. I'm actually a proponent of buying the dip on towels, but actually going there and getting a discount, if they're still honoring coupons, and you have no intentions of returns, then yeah, I mean, buy the in-store dip, not the stock dip.
Yeah, don't buy the market dip.
Per rad, the reptile last, so coupons are no longer accepted. Okay.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that yesterday on WSB or something. Or,
they made a publication. I thought their coupons were going to be accepted for a certain period, but okay.
That period has expired.
No, it would have been like 1 day or like something like that. It was something dumb. Just like they posted like on like the 23rd that any purchases made after like the 23rd, we will no longer accept any form of returns or something like that. So it was like on or after or something. It was just incredibly dumb. Yeah, no, Shark vacuums are awesome. I use a Shark. I don't have to do much vacuuming unless like my kids make a massive mess. Yeah, hot tip with Alexander. If you are in the market for children's clothes, I mean, Bye Bye Baby is also doing discounts. So don't miss out on that. Yeah, my biggest problem with Bed Bath and Beyond is that they didn't go out of business and like do like all like their massive sales a few months ago when like I had shitloads of like baby showers that. So typically like baby showers are for like it's ladies only. Now all the ones that happened were like, yeah, bring your husbands. So would have really appreciated that opportunity to buy that dip. I mean, I'm probably gonna go to a driving range and write FRC on like all the balls that I like hit, just to like vent some frustration. But everybody has their own way. Yeah, I mean, it is lunchtime, so lots of people are sitting here eating their lunch.
Price is right, baby.
Look at FRC go. Where are the $5 like and 50-cent like people that were sitting here hating? Still here? Still making money on your puts? I just want to know.
The puts are not doing well.
I'd close the $3 in lower puts that I sold, but I'm at like no mercy at this point. what I can see is that lots of people are way paying like lots of money for puts right now. So put premiums are incredibly high. So to phrase it differently, puts on average are $30 higher than when FRC was at this price this morning. Minimum. So I'm bearish on Roku. I don't think they're gonna present as well. Although I will say, I've got a Roku stick in every single TV in my house. And then I've actually got extra Roku sticks. I've also got a ton of broken Roku remotes, so the remotes are like my biggest problem with Roku. For anybody listening, I'm commenting on Capel 224 and Ishfei and Tiger of Trades conversation.
I just picked up $9 calls for FRC. Let's go to the moon.
Yeah, buddy.
Only $20 a contract, or $20 total for each contract. I got 4 contracts.
I mean, now is the chance to own shares of a financial institution that was priced at $200 not too long ago. Just zoom out, look at the charts. I mean, unless you think California is going to fail as a state. If they're going to fail as a state, then bearish. But I do not think the state of California or large institutions want another failure in California. Think of it this way, they have had failures in California, they've had failures in New York. Yeah, I mean Capel, that's so if you look at all the analyst ratings, like the lowest one that I found was Morningstar. Like their CFA was like $3. That's all they're worth. And everybody else is saying that like they're worth $10 plus, pretty much. The only thing that like sketched me out a little bit was a Credit Suzy analyst said that like they were worth like $12. That was the only like I was like, analysts work for a company. You always have to keep that in mind, and you always have to keep in mind like who is like funding them. It's the same reason anybody sees shitloads of like if anybody like actually looks at voting on like shares, you'll see like what are the political donations that you're receiving? Who are you contributing to? And like things like that. And it's because those things are happening and then there are people that want it to be publicly, like they'll buy the shares to be able to make the vote and close the shares after it and take a short position. Yeah, Congress and the media completely delorks. Okay, so that is a misconception. Retail traders can manipulate the market, but they can only manipulate within certain parts of the market. So individual stocks in certain ways and certain strikes and things like that. Otherwise, retail in general, there's physically not enough capital for individual retailers and retail traders to manipulate the market, which is why anytime that, other than things like zero dates, other than that, the media is always pretty much full of shit. Just looking for an out and to blame it on WallStreetBets. Today is probably a bear trap. I mean, I'm going still full bear, but I'm going long bear. So like when I said I'm going full bear, I'm not buying 0 dates. I'm not buying weeklies. I'm buying a lot further out. And I'm not worried a bit. The puts that I bought are down about $50. Sorry, $70 now. I'd updated per contract. So I had an overpressurized soda just explode in my face. That's kind of why like I've been really slow to comment on anything.
Oil took a nice little dip today.
So for anybody wondering why I go out of my way to ensure that I emphasize that none of the stuff I say or anything like that is any form of financial advice, nor my comments, nor my texts. It's because, like I said, there are people who just will go out of their way to sue people for stuff.
Yeah, you can sue me all you want. If you're in a group listening to financial advice where the members of the group are called apes, go ahead and spend all your money on lawyers. I'm going to get a good laugh out of it.
I know. And like that's the nice part is that you don't. It's not much of a sales pitch to a lawyer, and you just say you can. I don't want anything out of the counterclaim. I just want zero cost. Or like you can even be like generous and be like, you take 70%, I'll take 30% of the counterclaim.
Right. Wendy's bounced about 3% today. 3.5%. So I'm looking at, I sold some puts on EVTL, Echo Victor Tango Lima, Vertical Aerospace, expiring January 19th, 2024. For
oh, go ahead, Gene. I'll continue. Sorry.
for $119 a share, and the share price is $2. So I'm getting like a 50% return on the premium, or I'm getting shares at a 50% discount is another way to look at it if I get assigned.
So Leaping Leopard. Anybody can be anonymous as much as they want to be. The thing is that you're only as anonymous as the ability of other entities or legal institutions or things like that to find you. And Discord actually reserves the right to like everything pretty much. Part of like their ability to offer Discords as a free service, and then allow people to boost servers and things like that. So like Discord could be subpoenaed for any of like the audio here, but Opinion also like streams it, so it's why like his account is still here. Well, he's probably like catching a dog nap or whatever, I don't even know. Playing with snowballs, building a snowman, making frosties. But you can say anything you want. Just within reason. So I mean, I can pretend to have $100 million right now in cash. And then I could be like, yeah, what should I do? But reality is that I don't have $100 million in cash, but in Minecraft, Roblox, and like everything else, sure. Doesn't everybody have $100 million in like Minecraft and Roblox and gosh, Cryptoverse? No, so I specifically did not say V-Bucks because V-Bucks have a cash value. I don't know exactly, but so digital assets like that, where you have to buy something, do have a certain amount of cash value because there's been lawsuits, where, let's say, like somebody stole V-Bucks like from somebody and like they were friends or whatever at like one point in time, and then like somebody sued them and like they had to give the cash value as part of a claim back, in addition to pay the court costs and things like that. So digital assets do have value. It's one of the reasons why like they can be taxed by the IRS and things like that. So And if you can file a claim or sue somebody, then yeah. Also, nothing I mention or say is any form of legal advice or anything like that. Nothing I comment about, any form of legal advice, legal recommendations. Always reach out to a fully certified legal professional. Ideally within your jurisdiction.
I need Boyle to drop another 18 cents.
Are you bullish or are you just looking to buy the dip?
I sold $3 puts. $3 strike puts on Boyle. So I can get the shares. I want the shares.
Oh yeah. No, you want it to go down. No, I'm in the same boat.
I want it to go down so I can get assigned. Please.
Yeah, I mean, Boyle seems like a no-brainer play.
I also have like $5, $6, and $7 covered calls that I sold on the shares that I already have those are way in the money now. Actually, there's $6, $7, and $8 calls. Will expire worthless, I'm sure. Oh, hell yeah. When does Amazon report? Did they report already? They're up 3.8%. Google's up 2.8%. Why aren't they bankrupt yet? Google hovering around 104.50. Meta up 2%. Stellantis up 1%.
Amazon reports tomorrow after hours.
Amazon should come in all right because a lot of companies do their budgets. They have new budgets at the start of the year where they order supplies and things of that nature. So Amazon should be. I'm thinking they should be all right.
Amazon's been shit lately, to be honest, though.
Yeah,
so.
I know. No, I know.
And I'm perfectly fine, like if it. So. Now,
My-
long term, I'm very long Amazon. I'm very long, so I've got a long portfolio and things like that. So, but short term, honestly, like Amazon needs to get their shit together. And until they do, like,
Yeah,
what are they even doing?
my long-term holdings on Amazon are down 12%.
You're kidding. Your long-term holdings?
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough, man. My long-term holdings are up.
My shares are down 12%.
Yeah, mine are still up, but in the short term, I'm bearish on Amazon. They, like I said, they need to get their stuff together.
Ooh, BITO is up 8% today. That's because of Bitcoin pop.
Yep, just glad I'm not in BITI right now. When it starts to peak again, before FOMC raises rates again, that's where I'm gonna enter BITI again.
Yeah. Or you think it's going to climb until next week?
Anytime that, let me explain it differently. Anytime the risk-free rate goes up, people will close their in-profit Bitcoin positions to be able to accept the risk-free rate that's higher. We're in an inadverse liquidity market where financial institutions are providing liquidity amongst each other and things like that. So they know the overnight rates and like the amount of money that they'll get from deposits on hand and things like that.
Seeing a double top on developing on Litecoin right now, so that might go down. And Bitcoin's getting ready to drop below the 100-day moving average. It's like another buy opportunity there. Man, you should see the comparison of Pac West chart and Litecoin chart.
I don't know if I can queue that up here. I don't have any superpowers here. You might be able to queue it up.
I can't do it on my phone, and I have it on my desktop. I don't think it'll look good on the phone. You're not going to see the detail. All right. I do have a meeting with the accountant.
Ooh. Are you defunct or
Me? Putrid inspector. Yeah, put some calls on something. Oh, how did McDonald's report yesterday?
right. I linked it. Holy cow, Opinion, you're still here? Have you been listening to everything? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, no, I can't do anything in here, so I couldn't bring myself up.
Oh shoot.
Or and like just sitting there, I was like, cool, like can't do anything. It's all right.
Let me get you mod privileges. Yeah.
Hey, Opinion.
Hey. So, there we go. Should be all set now.
All right. Do I need to leave and rejoin or?
No, you're all good. Yeah, keep it going.
I can see the shield on you, Jefferson. You're good.
Okay, I can't see it on myself. One sec. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's working. I can't actually see it. Discord's just being weird.
No, you're all good. You're able to bring yourself back up, I think, so nice. Yeah, if there's anyone else you guys think should be like have mod privileges, let me know. Shoot me a DM. But
Will do. Much love. Hopefully you're making money today too.
Am I making money today? I think I'm flattish.
I mean, flat is better than losing money. That's the most important part, right?
That's true. If you never lose money, then you're doing well. Oh, FRC. Sorry, I'm kind of catching up, but bounced back up a lot after 10:30.
It has been lovely for like all the puts that I sold that were $3 and under. But I mean, like I'm still getting crushed by like my like $12 range puts. Like the 1250s are killing me, but like yeah.
Wow, $12. Oof.
You missed it earlier today. My 1250s were well over negative 1,000%.
Negative 1,000%. That is not great. Were they part of a spread?
No, I did not see this happening because the thing is when you look at the financials, it's not as bad as like everything is like and everybody is saying.
So did you end up picking up calls at any point? Hopefully today.
No, but I'm shorting everything else.
Okay.
I started shouting that like I'm gonna go bearish, like an all bearish. So, and like some of those have turned upside down so far, but they're long, so I'm not worried at all. And again, I'm playing with 4% right now, and that's it. And my total losses. So at one point today, again, this is just one of my portfolios. This is my short portfolio. I was down like negative like 5% probably ish. And now like I'm half that. So
all right, not too shabby at all. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm expecting a comeback, so I'm not worried, not even the slightest.
All right, to everyone listening on YouTube and Twitch.
And
I'm
Fox
gonna
News
end.
can go pound sand with their.
Sorry, they're just talking about FRC now. But for those listening on YouTube and Twitch, I'm going to end the recording here. If you want to listen to more, hop on the Discord and we'll keep the conversation going there. But thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you